Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities in Miniatures, and it's Friday, which means I'm going to bring you another obscurity in literature. And I already did bring you this book. This was the Kaijin from Hobby Japan, which is the Metal Hero series Creature Chronicle. If you want to watch the video on that, it's already posted. But we're not going to do a video on that. I really enjoyed this book, and lo and behold, Hobby Japan has actually put out a sequel of sorts. And that's what we're going to look at today. Dun, 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 dun. Yes, today we have the Wanzen超悪, which would translate to like all the super baddies, or basically all the villains. And this is for the Heisei writer Kaijin design daikon? So Heisei obviously would be like the millennial, modern, post-2000 Kamen Rider series. But this is all the Kaijin, all the bad guys, all the cool stuff, and this is all of the design work. And what's cool about this book, even more so than the Metal Hero one, now the Metal Hero book had all kinds of funk, and I mean they had some serious funk, not as much as the newer book. There's another book in this similarly designed series that Hobby Japan put out just recently of the monster designs from Tsuburaya Productions, the guys that did Ultraman, but also like Mirror Man, Fireman, Born Free, Eisenborg, a whole slew of tokusatsu stuff in the 70s, but they have all of the design work for that in a new book. And it's unfortunately a bit smaller. This is a massive tome of well over almost 300 pages plus of nothing but monster designs from the last 20 years or so. You don't have a lot of the original monsters or kaijin being the bad guys that were always in these shows. But what's here is, I'd say, almost even more so visually impressive. Yeah, there's a couple goofy ones, but for every goofy one, there's equally just some very neat designs. And the one thing I think this book is lacking, and I'd say the same about the other one, is it would have been so neat to have a photo of the finished costumes with the artwork, just to give everybody a better idea of how things turned out. Like, this is one of the big baddies from Kamen Rider Kuga, if I remember. One of the, is it the albino Joker? I don't remember, the horse Orphanok. I watched a lot of the early ones, maybe up to about 5 when the Orphanok showed up. Saw a little bit of Blade, and then I skipped a few years, and then when my kids were getting to be of age, I remember Double was on TV, and we watched a lot of Fours, and I know their cousins had all of the gear for Fours, and I remember watching a lot of O's. O's I think I saw most of. Okay. So, all you minis designers out there, take note. If you want to see some interesting themes, as I've said on many occasions on this channel, nobody really does good tokusatsu designs. And while the kaijin, especially around the Kuga era, were a bit more simplistic, there were definitely a lot of interesting kind of throwbacks and homages to earlier Kamen Riders. Once you get to about 2010 or so, you got a lot of really creative stuff starting to pop up. But definitely a lot of the big baddies in the shows always had some nice and interesting designs. I liked Kuga. Agito, I can't really remember the story all that much. Something about like a new race of evolved humans or something. Funny enough, it doesn't have much in the way of the actual rider designs, but then again, it's all the bad guys. Oh, another Agito, I remember him. It's totally like the Shocker Riders. I remember she was kind of a big deal in the show. That's about all I can remember. The spider monster, mirror monsters, that's what they were called, from the very first episode of Kamen Rider Ryuki, which actually showed up in the US as Dragon Knight Riders or something, wasn't it? I never watched it. I remember watching these with god-awful subtitles on the Hong Kong DVDs that were all the rage of the early 2000s. While everybody was busy watching bootlegged anime, I was out there hunting for tokusatsu stuff. Very colorful. And yeah, I mean, a lot of these are obviously the typical based on animal designs. But when you get to the stuff like the Orphanox, I thought the Orphanox were such a visual departure from what had come before. Very unique designs. There's definitely some cool stuff in Ryukyu. Bat Orphan. I don't even remember that. I kind of sort of do. The wolf was cool. I don't remember the main villain anymore. Where's the wolf? I'm sure he's in here. Then you get into one of my favorites, the Nirasawa designs. Everybody's got extra long arms and legs. Nirasawa doing quite a few different shows. The Worms from Kabuto, which he was obviously involved in. Hibiki and its weird yokai oni thing. Hibiki I don't recall ever really watching. I might have seen a few episodes here and there. I forget what those dudes were called. All of the Kintaros, Ryutaros, all those guys. Imajin or something? That sounds right. Again, just page after page of neat monster designs. Kiba, I thought concept-wise was really neat. You had like all these kind of stained glass monsters. And that's all I can recall. And it's probably for the best, because I don't think Kiba was supposed to be all that good. Remember the early trailers made it look very Castlevania-like, and having played Symphony of the Night far too many times. Decade, I think I remember watching when the kids were little. Decade had some interesting monsters in it. Trying to remember when they started having a lot of the throwbacks to the earlier shows show up. I would have thought Decade. There are a bit of interviews and some line art interspersed here and there. Double and the Dope Hunts. Those I remember. Now, personally, I think what would be really cool is to see a Heisei era Super Sentai book. Because if ever there were neat designs that were absolutely wasted on the target audience, it would be that. O's and, oh god, what was his name? Onk or something. Evil Mutant Pandas. And there's just tons and tons. I've skipped over so much stuff as it is. The 4's had some cool stuff. Her, I remember. The lion was cool. I don't like cats. Funny that is. And I dig cat-based monsters quite a lot. I'm digging the crab guy too. Maybe it's just the extra limbs. See, there's just neat designs, and I think there's just a gold mine of inspiration lurking in these types of books. Sure, a lot of this is going to come down to painting, obviously. Kyodine. I don't remember where they showed up, but that is both of the Kyodine brothers. I'm assuming this isn't a movie because, okay, yeah. I remember when Alchemizer 3 showed up, and I know my son is very irritated that he can't watch all of it on the Toei YouTube channel, which is like one of the very few actual channels I think I subscribe to, just because I like to pick up, you know, a few new episodes here and there. Inazuman. Don't think I watched any of Wizard. Some of this stuff looks like it belongs in Ultraman. Again, I'm just like jumping chunks of pages here. That guy was cool. Drive, and it's more mechanical based, kind of vaguely Kaneko Takayama looking stuff. Where did Takayama do that? The lines make me think that. Of course, some of that stuff, dude, looks like the Big O. Definitely some fun, interesting, and unique looking creations lurk within these pages. Ghost. I don't think I saw any a Ghost. But there's some neat stuff. Even for some of these cheesier throwaway shows, there's definitely some cool designs. N-Boss looking dude up here. Build, also with its vaguely mecha, not even vaguely. I'm like, we're full on mecha. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Oh, and then we get into Zeo. One of these, I think, is actually getting translated and brought to the U.S. Fun stuff. So yeah, there's definitely some fun to be had here. And like I said, this is just the second of now 3. And who knows, there'll probably be more. But I think if you enjoy these kinds of design books, I think these things are absolute gold mines. They're so much fun to just flip through and appreciate. And while I may be a crummy artist and not have much eye of my own when it comes to designing stuff, I think I do have a good eye for appreciating finer creations and artwork than what I can come up with. And there is absolutely a ton of killer stuff in here. Sadly, I don't think there's anything like by Amamiya, but there is like Kiya Asamiya, the guy that did like Silent Mobius, Steam Detectives, a whole bunch of other stuff. He's got designs in here. Which ones did he do? I can't even remember now. But he definitely was involved. Just a lot of cool stuff, as you can see. I want to say that I got this on Amazon Japan, of all places. And I want to say that my wife was able to order it in the States and have it shipped here for somewhat reasonably decent prices. So I think if you're interested, it is definitely worth taking a look. And, you know, unless you really are keen on the idea of paying scalpers and outrageous shipping charges through other third-party sellers, do take a look. And, you know, one of the fun things about going and checking this stuff out on Amazon, not that I'm the biggest fan of Amazon, but, you know, it is always fun to go down those rabbit holes and see what other similar things people have purchased, and that always leads to new and interesting discoveries, which I'm constantly finding as well. So I'm going to see if I can put a link. I don't know. I'm going to try. But if it doesn't work out, you can always just sit there. I'll have the kanji up on the top if you want to copy and paste that. Throw that into amazon.co.jp. That should get you on the right track, or even, you know, try putting it on regular Amazon, and we'll see what that turns out too. Hopefully, if you're interested, you'll be able to get yourself a copy before these go out of print, because these books tend to get quite pricey on the aftermarket, and I'm not a fan of people getting gouged and ripped off. So, fingers crossed, good luck, happy hunting, and I know I'm going to be enjoying this for some time to come. With that said, this has been High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching, and we will be back here soon.